Okay, hello. It's Susan, and I'm here with Dan Immel, who has been on the road internationally for 3 years. He's visited over 50 countries, anywhere from 1 day to 4.5 months. So we have just 3 questions. Dan, hello. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Susan.
So, how are you today?
Great.
Okay, so first question. What is your favorite place you visited and why?
I would have to say Spain. Yeah, because the pace of life there is really cool. Like, if you take away everything, like the need to work, because their unemployment rate's pretty high right now, and if you take away all the other expectations of life and you just did what you wanted to do, which probably would be, for me as a musician, to stay up late, sleep in late, wake up, eat, go back to sleep, wake up again, and amongst every one of those stages, there's probably a lot of friends involved. There's such a very social group, and they love big groups of people. Going out and listening to music and drinking wine and eating food, and all at the same time, you're amidst history, that runs back, at least 1,000 years.
And you don't have to go to work.
Yeah, well, yeah, about 3/4 of the population is still going to work. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of, but even the people that still work 40 to 50 hours a week, don't get me wrong, even the people that still work their butts off, they still have this mentality of going for an hour and a half lunch. Some people still take naps. The siesta thing is still real. But it's just the pace of life and the way in which the social groups actually make a big difference. Social groups are kind of the way people operate and live and eat, hang out. So. And plus the sun, that helps too.
Why don't you move there?
It's possible, but anywhere in Europe right now you have to be careful because the unemployment rate. So, just like in America, when jobs are low, all of a sudden people start getting really weird about immigrants and foreigners, and it's not entirely different even in Europe. It's like if you go there and all of a sudden you're taking a job and 25% of the people are out of work. There might be a few people that are a little bit like, yeah, but what about us? So, if I went there, it would be to go with the pretense of being an educator of one sense or another, either music or yoga or the English language.
Very good endorsement of Spain.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Did I mention wine?
No.
And food.
You mentioned the food.
And cheese.
Isn't that France? Isn't that France?
Oh, I prefer Spanish cheese. French cheese is amazing, come on, but yeah, I prefer Spanish cheese.
Okay, so in 3 years of traveling, what American stereotypes have you found to be true?
That we are loud is true. That we complain a lot and are a bit drama queenish. That is, I have found to be true. And the other one is that almost none of us speak another language. Whereas the majority of people in the rest of the world, they speak at least 2 languages and quite often 3. Either their home language, the language of the town that they've moved to or the country they've moved to work, as well as English now, quite often. It's English. I don't think we'll ever get past that language thing because English is becoming the world language very fast because it's the traveling language, because it's easy to learn, because TV, American movies are everywhere. English-speaking movies are everywhere, so people can learn English much easier.
So we're baby drama queens too.
We're little baby drama queens too. Yeah, that's the other thing, man. Like even yesterday on the train coming in, I got onto the Airport Express after getting off the plane from Taiwan, and of course, the first people I noticed, like you were saying, you notice when people are being, you feel that energy, conspicuous, and this conspicuousness with this family was the fact that they were being loud and complaining, and they were complaining about each other, to each other, about the train, about the situation, the schedule, the price, it was everything. Well, the wife was, bickering about, when they needed to be at the hotel, and the husband was saying, well, you shouldn't have picked that hotel because it's not a good enough hotel, and the son was like, really? We have to sit over there? God, it's ridiculous. And the husband basically had the same attitude, and the wife was just over it, shutting down, and then being, passive aggressive to both of them. It was just it was a sight. And maybe those kind of things happen in the countries that I go to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
with other travelers, but
they're not as loud, so you don't hear it.
Yeah, they're not as loud, so you don't hear it. They work things out in private, or they work things out calmly later, you know, or maybe it's just not in English, so I don't understand it. But still, even when it's not in English, you still get the energy. I mean, most languages, when people are angry, the tonalities are the same.
But they were American and not Australian.
Yeah, no. They were American for sure. But,
okay.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll say this too though. Australians and British can be just as loud, just as complainy, just as everything else as I just said Americans can be.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's something in the Anglo culture, the Anglo mentality of what happens when you go away on holiday or vacation, or when people start drinking.
Yeah.
It changes. And
so English speakers are annoying, but not the South Africans.
I'm honestly not gonna start making distinctions between the former Commonwealth countries and how they act, because I've seen them all act the same.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Okay,
you have a thing for South Africans? Is that why you say that? You think they're perfect?
I don't know. It seemed like the only group we were leaving out of the English speakers.
Yeah.
And the Canadians, but
or the Kiwis.
Yeah, but there's only like, what, 500 of those?
Yeah, 500,000 times 10, I think.
Okay, your last question. How has your outlook changed in the last 3 years, from when you first started traveling and going places to like right now?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about like the last 3 to 5 years or whatever, that's one perspective. But when I worked on the cruise ships in the '90s, late '90s as well, that was kind of my first big eye-awakening experience, because we did Europe, South America, Central America, North America as well. But since then, I mean, since I've been basically exclusively in Europe and Asia, and some parts of the Middle East and Africa since 2009, I mean, I would say that most of it is just that it's gotten deeper, and like both the differences between the people and the cultures of the world, as well as the similarities of those same people and cultures, seem more like more vibrant, more strong. Like the contrast between people is even stronger. It's like, when I meet somebody and have a conversation, usually in English, of course, going back to the language thing, from whatever country it is, I quite often will see, okay, wow, people aren't that different. Life isn't that different from one country to the other. When you're talking about urban environments, because most of my travel is, to big cities for the show, for the tour,
So as far as city mouse go, they're kind of more similar than they are different, is what you're saying?
Well, they're actually more similar than they are different, for sure. But then even when there are still those cultural differences, I used to be aware of them, but now it's like I'm really aware of them, and they seem even that much stronger, and they seem to be what actually make a people what they are. It's the differences, and so I love it. I mean, I have a lot. Some people that I travel with, they get to a new country and they see the differences, and they're like, "Man, what's up with this? Why can't it be like this? This is stupid.
They glom
just doesn't
onto
work for me." Yeah, exactly.
Differences.
Yeah, well, they glom onto their, and then they just like
make a big deal.
Yeah, then they start bitching about it. But to me, I don't know. Like when I run into those inconvenient things, I'm like, man, that's totally a weird way of doing it. But I just, in those moments, I know that I'm someplace different, which is why I travel. Or one of the reasons why I travel. It's to actually have that sensation of being in some place where people are different. And
so for the last 3 years, you've been hanging out with a bunch of city mice. I think the next 3 years you should go to the countrysides and the villages.
Some people have suggested this already.
Shut up! Are you serious?
No, I'm serious. Yeah, some people are like, man, you need to get out into the countryside and stuff. But I mean, I'm not a huge fan of big city life, nor am I a huge fan of little out of the way villages. I really prefer my towns smaller, like
Columbus, Ohio.
I would not have ever said Columbus, Ohio in a million years.
He just,
no, it's an underestimated town, actually.
He just described Columbus, Ohio.
It's not small.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us.
Sure.
And safe travels today, later, as you go to Greece.
First time to Greece.
Hope you don't get too greasy there.
Well, if I do, I can just rub it in and it becomes like a suntan lotion. It's good.
So, so we're gonna go eat lunch now.
Yay.
Okay, bye.
Veggie Madness.